Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the ODE to Gran Turismo, our running league series on Gran Turismo Sport. Gran Turismo 7 is out, but we are still continuing with the series for a couple more weeks to bid goodbye to the racing game that got us all together at SimNation India. Today, we are at Monza, the Temple of Speed, for the Group B race. That is going to be very, very exciting. The drivers are very, very closely matched. We had an excellent race last week around. And today, I am joined by our very own Shami on the commentary team. Shami, say hi to everyone.
Hey everyone, what's up? How are you all doing? Today we are at Temple of Speed, and we are going to see some action-packed race.
Absolutely. So, while we were talking about that, introducing the race and everything, the racers are actually out on the circuit. They are starting qualifying. So here's the best part about Monza. Nobody wants to be at the front, especially during qualifying, because they all want that slipstream. Now look at Bukaran. He's ahead of the pack. Nobody following him. I'm looking at the wildest monk, who is right now in provisional P2 based on his track position, and he's closely followed by Crispy Bacon. So Crispy Bacon gets a good slipstream of the wildest monk. And if you guys don't know, these two are very, very close together in the championship standings as well. Here's the thing about yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask this. I want to pose this question to Shami as well. Do you think it's a safe bet to stay behind a faster driver in qualifying and maybe get the slipstream, or do you think it's better off to just do your own thing and not get obstructed by anybody else?
I think the slipstream will help you to a certain point, but not to the full circuit. If you can catch up with the fastest driver on the either before the last corner or on the main straight, which can help you to boost about like 3-4 tenths in your time maybe, but sticking up behind the fastest driver won't help you to gain the fastest lap time. I don't think so, because the fastest driver keep on moving, and if their exits are good, then it's good.
Right, and as we are talking about, so the wildest monk is definitely the quickest driver here. So far as the competition has progressed, but Crispy Bacon has kept his distance. I mean, he has been following him, he has been gaining some speed. We'll look at the wildest monk. So look at that. Wildest monk did a 147.9, but Crispy Bacon in his slipstream just did a 147.8, and he's pushing the wildest monk. Is giving him a little bump draft to make him go just that little bit quicker, so you can stay in that slipstream and maybe get another couple of tenths up on that guy. Over everybody else on the field, Karan did a 148.2. Junior does a 149.0. Considering the rest of the field, that's a very, very good time from him. But I think the times are going to improve as we move along. Tyson has done a 150.2, so I think he'll go a little bit faster as well. Fierce B in the Supra has done a 51.0, which I do not believe is representative of his pace on this track. Dinesh, who has joined us after I think 3 rounds now, he is obviously off the pace. He's at a 155.1. Zolo in the Mazda, who was practically unbeatable, untouchable, unreachable the last race. Right now he's at a 157, but I think he'll gain some time on there. And Sushi as well, who actually did finish on the podium, but got a 3-second penalty, so his finishing position or in the classification was 4th. We'll keep an eye on. I feel like we should keep an eye on the wildest monk and Crispy Bacon. So Crispy Bacon did overtake him, but looks like he did get a penalty. So, and both of these guys are now coming in here. So we'll focus on somebody who might be completing his lap. Talk to me about that Mazda, Shami. What do you think about this car?
Mazda is pretty good car, and I'm thinking like it's Zolo, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So it's pretty good in fuel saving, and I think these guys are just burning the fuel in the quali and then going for a fresher tire to go for the fastest lap at in the last few minutes. And compared to that, if Zolos happen to be starting in a good place, the field, and if he can go for the fuel save, and the strategy might differ. And Mazda is pretty good in fuel saving too. It doesn't got a top end speed like other cars like how AMG or Supra or GTR like that. So yeah, let's hope to get some uh, speed today from Zolo.
Absolutely, and the Mazda is. I mean, it's very very good on tires and fuel. That's a given, and it sounds orgasmic when it's out there on the track as well. As you look at Junior Kick-Ass, it just gets it all sorts of wrong, trying to get away from Fierce B. But I do want to talk about Junior here as well. He's a new guy onto the Simnation India team. And he has been taking part in all of the races, having a lot of fun and improving as well. When we started the tournament, he was consistently 7 or 8 seconds behind the drivers. He has now brought that gap down to maybe a second, second and a half, maybe 2 seconds. At least in terms of qualifying pace. There's still a long way to go in terms of race pace, in terms of consistency, but I think he will get there. And that's what this tournament is about, especially for the Group B drivers to race a little bit, to understand circuits, to understand racecrafts, and get better in the process, so that when we are all racing on Gran Turismo 7, you never know, we might find some hidden gems from Group B itself, don't you think?
Exactly. Absolutely, because Wireless Monk, Crispy Bacon, and Zolo, these guys are on par with each other. Like the pace and this racecraft and everything, these people are on par with each other. So I'm thinking like we in GT7 in future tournaments, yes, we'll be able to see them in a Group A category. Absolutely.
Absolutely, and I think the find of the season has been Crispy Bacon in Group B. He, for a lot of people, even in our poll right now, people are favoring the Wildest Monk to win this race. But Wildest Monk has been the favorite in this group since the beginning of the tournament. But Crispy Bacon has given him some very, very stiff competition. He's the real find of the season. I think he'll be, when we actually move on to the finals, he'll give some Group A guys a run for their money. What do you think?
Exactly. Wireless Monk, even I'm a fan of a Wireless Monk, so I just wanted to see what Wireless Monk have this in the last lap, which is he's going to start in the next lap. So yeah, I think he's just conserving his tires and fuel and going for a last full lap. And it's just 1/10 away from the Crispy Bacon, so my bet is on Wireless Monk. He'll be on the pole. Let's see.
All right, so we go on board the Wildest Monk. Very, very low fuel. I think he has less than 25% fuel, and he's on fresh set of soft tires. So it's going to be interesting to see how he takes this. So he's on the main straight. He actually has gone quickest with a 47.6. That is a blisteringly quick time. So this is going to be another lap for him. Sushi Maka has gone second with a 47.8, pushing Crispy Bacon down to third. The gap between them is 17 thousandths of a second. That is so close.
Yeah, very close. I totally agree. Like most of the people think this circuit, Monza, has pretty easy circuits because it's just got very few corners. But that's what it makes it more challenging and interesting, I guess, because it's not about the turns. Testing this potential of the car in the top end. As you exit of the car, as you get a good exit from the corner in every corner, and you will reach to a top end where you will get a nice speed and get some nice time approaching to a next corner, right? So that's what this circuit is made up of. Like you do a late break and take a turn and exit as early as possible, so that you'll get that speed when you're approaching the next turn.
Exactly.
That is what makes it more interesting about this Monza. It can be very close,
Oh,
or
and
it
the
can be
Wildest Monk. I'm so
far
sorry
away.
to interrupt you. Wildest Monk had been getting purple sectors all around, and he gets it wrong at the exit of Ascari. He's going to be so mad at himself if Sushi Maka or somebody like Crispy Bacon gets him off towards the end. We'll just have to wait and see what Sushi Maka does. We were focusing on the Wildest Monk, and that's what the commentator's curse is all about. We were talking so many good things about him, and he just goes and wins it at the exit of Ascari. So Sushi comes in and does a
Sushi.
47.5. He is 6 thousandths of a second ahead of the Wildest Monk, and I think the Wildest Monk is
Wow,
going to
that was
be
very close.
the Wildest Monk is going to be so mad. Fierce B is in 4th, Karan is in 5th, Zolo in 6th position, Junior in 7th, just 1.4 seconds behind Sushi. That's a very, very good time from him. Tyson about 2.7 seconds behind the leader, and Dinesh about 7 seconds. I think he has not had any practice at all. He did mention that he's going to be on his controller as well. So Vedu in the chat says, what a spin. Yes, I know, but when the race starts, I think everybody knows that the Wildest Monk is going to jump everyone and go into first position. His starts are electric. As we wait for the grid to form, we'll just look at everyone on there. Sushi Maka in first, Wildest Monk in second, Crispy Bacon in third. We're just waiting for the lights to come on. It's going to be a standing start. I'm going to set a replay marker for myself so we can go back and look at what these guys have been doing. So we're focusing on Sushi Maka. We have a red light and we have green. Everybody's off, and look at the Wildest Monk. He is already in first position, but Crispy Bacon in second place is following him very, very closely. I want to go on board Crispy Bacon. Let's see if he tries to make a move. He does, goes diving down on the inside, gets his braking all sorts of wrong, comes out of the chicane. I think he gets a spin.
Oh
That
my.
is sad news for Crispy Bacon. He just got it wrong when it really mattered. He got a brilliant start just behind the Wildest Monk, as Zolo and Fierce B are now in second and third. These guys may be going for a move there. Fierce B just put his nose there in just a little bit. There's a little bit of a contact between those guys, but Zolo keeps ahead. What a frantic start, Shami.
As you said, yes, it is. Even though the Wildest Monk, he pinned it in the last lap of the quali, but his car is off the line as a rocket thing. And he just got off the line so quickly, and now he built up a gap over like 5 seconds. That's insane.
Exactly. So
What do you think?
while these guys are racing out on the track, I'm going to see if we maybe caught that the move from Crispy Bacon. So I'm going to go on Crispy Bacon. We're going to go on his onboard, and we're looking at the replay right now. These guys are waiting. We have 3, 4, 5 lights. Sushi Maka in the Toyota Supra, which just bogs down every time you want to start. He's already down to third, but Crispy Bacon gets a brilliant start. He's on the toe right behind the Wildest Monk. He brakes just a tiny bit late, and that's all it takes for him to go off into the chicane. We're looking at Karan right now, and I think Sushi Maka gets caught up in that. And oh, there was another incident right there on Junior as well. So Junior got spun out. Wow, first few minutes, and we're already having so much shift. Zolo is now in third position. Fierce B 1.7 seconds ahead of Zolo in second position. This is turning into a dream race for Fierce B. Shami, what are your thoughts on the opening sequence?
Absolutely great. And Fierce B got into second position. I think he started from back in 6th, I guess.
He
If I'm
did.
not wrong.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And Zolo followed up Fierce B closely, and Zolo was ahead. There was like a little bit fight between them for the first lap, and then Fierce B got ahead, and now Zolo is with Junior Kick-Ass behind him, and we can see him fighting with Zolo in other next 2 laps, because I can see Zolo is like short shifting and Junior is going full speed.
Exactly. So not only is this a battle of speed, but it's also a battle of strategy, because there are two strategies on offer. You either go for a one-stop and
Oh, sorry to interrupt, Abby. Zolo just went out and he lost the speed. Junior is just overtaking him.
so Zolo goes back into fourth position. We'll see if our replay cameras caught that by any chance. So Zolo tries to come out of Ascari. It's well, I think he just forgot. He just forgot to turn there. Goes onto the grass and loses a bunch of time against Junior Kickass. So right now, Zolo is in fourth position. Sushi, who qualified on pole, is now in seventh. But I feel like Sushi has got this, at least for now. He's going to stay behind Tyson or whoever there is in front of him as the race progresses. I think it might be wise for him to switch to a one-stop strategy, at least for right now. But the Wildest Monk, look at that gap between Sushi and the Wildest Monk. It's 13 seconds. Wildest Monk is already 3.6 seconds ahead of Fierceby. I think at one point he was 5 seconds ahead, but he might be conserving fuel as well. The last lap, Wildest Monk did a 149.8 and Fierceby does a 149.0. So I'm pretty sure Fierceby is trying to go for a two-stop. Yeah, he's definitely catching up, and he's probably going for a two-stop as well. MJK in the chat says, so unfortunate for Sushi Maka, especially after that great quali lap for pole. Absolutely, and that's one of the perils of having the Supra. It just doesn't get off the line as quickly. I mean, you can try, you can maybe make the wheels spin, but it just takes a lot of coordination. That car just bogs down at the start. And something like the AMG that the Wildest Monk is driving is just so quick off the line that even I remember a race where he qualified, I think it was 4th or 5th, and he moved up to 1st by turn 1. So that with these standing starts, it just gets very difficult. Look at the gap between Fierceby and Wildest Monk. It's already down 2.7 seconds. And Junior, he's in 3rd. Now, if he maintains this, if he doesn't win it, if he maintains all of this, I think he might not finish in 3rd at the end of the day, because it looks like
he has higher chances to finish in top 5.
Yeah, a top 5 finish for Junior is going to be absolutely amazing for him. So we're gonna wish him all the best. We're not gonna talk too much about him, lest we put a curse on Junior Kickass. Zolo in 4th position, about 9 seconds.
And he's in the slipstream too.
Yeah, and Zolo is in the slipstream, so I think he's definitely... Okay, so Zolo just got away from the slipstream. He's like moving back and forth, but I think he'll catch up eventually. That Mazda is just amazing, amazing in terms of grip. Elsewhere on the field, Karan is in 5th, about 1.3 seconds behind Zolo, and this is, I think, the 3rd race in a row, maybe the 4th race in a row, where Karan... Oh, we just noticed something. Crispy Bacon is in 8th. He's 14 seconds behind the Wildest Monk, and he's right behind Sushi Maka. So the guys in 1st and, if I remember correctly, 3rd are now together in 7th and 8th. We just did not catch that at all. We were so busy looking at the top guys. Thank you so much for Vedant in the chat for reminding us. This is not a good look for these guys, don't you think, Shami?
But these guys, I'm thinking, I'm watching these people working together right now. Because like Sushi and Crispy, they both are short shifting and fuel saving at the same time. And let's see if these guys are working together and these guys can pull off one stopper. Yes, these guys can come to the top in top 5 maybe.
Absolutely. So right now it doesn't look like they're working together. Sushi, I think, okay, he was trying to go for a move, but he eases off. So I think these guys are playing it smart, at least for now. I mean, Crispy Bacon makes the overtake. He gets in front of Sushi Maka, but Sushi is not. He's not fighting it for right now. He's just staying behind. trying to get into the slipstream and trying to save some fuel. Santosh in the chat says, seems there is too much turbo lag in the Supra at start. You might say that, but it's just a little too slow to get up the rev. So yeah, that might be a turbo thing as well. Aditya in the chat says huge improvement by Junior. Absolutely.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. Junior has just had a moment with Bukaran.
Okay, we will see if our replay cameras caught that by any chance. So Junior, oh, he gets it all sorts of wrong coming out of, I think that was Lesmo 1. Just goes wide, gets onto the gravel and loses a bunch of positions, but I think he's still there in the race. All is not lost. He comes back. He comes back into 4th position, so that's fine for him.
Yeah, GTR is faster than Porsche.
Yeah, exactly. The GTR has some amazing top-end speed. Crispy Bacon tries to make a move on Karan. He comes back in to 5th position now. So Crispy Bacon is getting a little aggressive. I want to go back and look at that move. So he gets alongside Karan. Where does he... I think they both brake at the same time. There's a little bit of a contact going into the Parabolica, and that's the thing with this track. The Parabolica is so long that you need to be able to get a good exit out of that corner to actually make your position worth it. Looks like
and Crispy Bacon just overtook Junior Kickass.
Junior Kickass as well.
First corner.
So apart from the guy in first, who is now challenged by Fierceby, who's just about 1.2 seconds behind, there's been a lot of shuffling in positions. I also want to look at the guys at the back. So Dinesh right now in the Porsche is about 22 seconds behind Sushi, which is expected. He did not really have much practice. And Tyson is running in 9th position, already 51 seconds behind the Wildest Monk, which I think is fair, at least for right now. Tyson is a very, very new guy, so he's still getting to grips with the game, the car, this whole aspect of competitive racing. But elsewhere on the field, I want to stay with these guys, Fierceby and the Wildest Monk, while we also look at the other drivers that are out on the track, because this is going to be a pivotal moment for Fierceby, right? If he overtakes Wildest Monk, Monk is just going to stay behind him and save some fuel, unless Fierceby just gets out of bounds. But if Fierceby stays behind the Wildest Monk and saves some fuel himself, he might give himself an opportunity to go that extra lap and maybe have a fresher set of tires for the next stint. What do you think?
I totally agree with you, because I can totally see this Wildest Monk fuel gauge. He has a little bit more fuel than Fierceby now, and Fierceby has to play smarter, and he just needs to stick behind the Wildest Monk to go for another lap, or else he has to go into pits if that's not happening. I think Wildest Monk can stay for another lap outside, but not Fierceby.
All right, so in our practices, we've seen the race running anywhere between 16 to 17 laps, depending on what the leaders do. So it's going to be interesting, because there's no fixed set of laps that these guys have to compete. They have to compete over 30 minutes, and obviously if the leaders have a better race pace, they'll be doing more laps than the guys behind. So looked like for a second that Fierceby got really, really close to the Wildest Monk. I want to look at his telemetry as well. He does have some fuel. I think he might be able to do an additional, like, one extra lap on this one. And the Wildest Monk has quite a bit of fuel, so he might be going for another couple of laps. So, while it looked like for a second that Fierceby was going to try and fight with the Wildest Monk, it might still happen, but I want to look at these guys right here. So Zolo in no man's land, he's just driving alone, which I don't think is the best thing, at least on this track. You always want to get a little bit of slipstream. Crispy Bacon in 4th. Junior Kickass has...
Fierceby gone into the pit.
Okay, so Fierceby has gone into the pits. We'll see where he comes out. Boo Karan has just been overtaken by Crispy Bacon. Maybe he made a mistake somewhere. Sushi and Bukaran were very, very close together. Junior Kickass in 7th position. So at one point, he was running the race of his life, but right now he's 27 seconds behind Wildest Monk, so there might have been some mistake there. Crispy Bacon is back up to 3rd. I think at one point he was down in 8th position, so that's a good recovery drive from him. And Sushimaka is back into 5th place. He's running behind Bukaran, and he has some fuel at hand. But this is going to be interesting for all of these guys. The people who wanted to go for a 2-stop, I think the pit window is open this lap and the next. So Dinesh went into the pits. Fierce B went into the pits as well. So we just have to wait and see what the other guys do. So Shami, I remember before the race, we were talking about Monza as a circuit, and you told me that you have some interesting tidbits about the circuit that you would want to share with our audiences. So yeah, please go ahead, enlighten us, talk to us about Monza, the Temple of Speed.
Oh yeah, this Monza, it's right now we are in 100th year. I think the first Grand Prix which was held in Monza was 1922. It was pretty interesting. That time we had this huge parabola, which looks like a NASCAR track, and which is connected to this Monza track alone. And I think after an accident, this NASCAR track in the Monza, which has been like abandoned for the safety reason, and they went for this very Grand Prix circuit now. So it's pretty good. There are like it's filled with history. It's the sole reason why it's called as a Temple of Speed is because it's filled with long straight, very few turns, and it's very challenging. During those days, we could see the cars which weren't like properly, properly. It wasn't good or not good in sense like in safety aspect. The thing is,
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Shami, but Fierce B has played the undercut on the Wildest Monk. Wildest Monk goes into the pits, comes out in 4th position, 3 seconds behind Fierce B. Sushi and Zolo still haven't pitted yet. So this is very, very good news for these guys. I think the Wildest Monk, because he was out there in the front with no slipstream and no way to save fuel, he's shown his cards for now. We'll see how far this next stint takes him. But Zolo, look at that, 11 seconds ahead of Sushi. So do you think the fuel-saving capabilities of the Mazda is going to come into the play yet again?
Absolutely. Zola is going to pit in this lap, and I think he's going for one stopper. And if he plays his cards right, yes, he has a potential to finish in top 3. Absolutely.
Wow. So we'll come back to those tidbits about Monza. I just want to look at where these guys end up. So I'm going to focus on Crispy Bacon in 5th position because Zolo was ahead of Crispy Bacon, who is right now about 42 seconds behind Zolo. So I think Zolo is going to be comfortably ahead of Crispy Bacon anyway. What about Sushi? So Sushi and Zolo both go into the pits. All right, so this is going to be interesting. We'll just wait for these cars to come in. Sushi comes in with 0% fuel remaining. Wow. We'll just wait for them to come out, or maybe we focus on Crispy Bacon, who is just entering Parabolica. It's going to stay on this chase cam and see where he comes out relative to Zolo. I think Zolo just came out of the pits. He's now in 3rd position. Sushi has underfueled, so I think he's going for 2-stop. That's for certain. So Sushi has played his cards now. He's definitely going for a 2-stop now. He comes back out into 4th position, and Crispy Bacon in 5th. He needs to get as close as he can to Sushi to try and maintain an advantage the next time these guys go into the pits. Right.
And Crispy Bacon is fueled a little bit more than Sushi Marcus, so I'm guessing Crispy Bacon will overtake and go for Zolo. He will go for Zolo, yeah.
Yeah, so that is something that we'll have to wait and see in terms of when their strategies actually come into play. So this will probably happen in the next 3 to 4 laps. We'll see if the drivers pulling a 2-stop will start going to the pits, and once they come out, we'll be fairly certain of what happens. But Fierce B right now in provisional P1, and I think he's going to maintain that P1, don't you think?
I don't think so. Wildest Monk, I think he's going for a fuel CV. I can see him short shifting, but Fierce B is just going full speed. He's not stopping at all. And he's definitely going for 2-stopper. And I think the last stint he's going to attack the players who are going to end up in front of him. That's all. And he goes fastest too. That's insane. 147.5.
Right, so I was just looking at the fuel level between Fierce B and Wildest Monk, and you are correct. Looks like Fierce B has to pit. But he does have the speed advantage, and he's going to have that speed advantage and tire advantage towards the end of the race as well. So this is going to be very touch and go between these guys, especially if the race goes towards lap 17, which is going to be a fuel-saving nightmare for the Wildest Monk if he goes for a 1-stop, which I think he is. Elsewhere, Zolo in 3rd position. He's definitely going for a 1-stop, 13 seconds behind the Wildest One. So he's in a very good position right now. Sushi has underfueled, so it looks like he's going to go for a 2-stop. He's closely followed by Crispy Bacon, just a second apart, those guys. Tyson is in 6th, Karan in 7th, and Junior Kickass in 8th position, at least for right now. So, I guess we'll just have to wait for a couple more laps. So why don't you continue on about the facts that you had about Monza for us?
Yeah. So those old cars, what I was saying is the old cars, which were like very brutal to drive, and those days these people didn't have any safety belts or proper tracksuit and everything. Because of the sole reason, the races were pretty dangerous over that time. And we in Monza there were like a lot of crashes and deaths were happened. So for the safety reason, they abandoned that entire the NASCAR track, which was I don't know the name of the track, but yeah, that's about it. But about this Monza had seen a lot of championship and a lot of categories of different disciplines. I mean, in races, there've been like F1 races, and there've been like a World Endurance Race Championship and European Limo Series. So this car this track is been my favorite track for ever since I found out this track. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and I know this thing about Monza, having that old banked circuit, which is still there. I think that banked circuit actually comes around all of these corners and joins the Parabolica at the end. And I think the name Temple of Speed is really, really apt. Even right now, I mean, the straights that this track has, and also to the fact that there are straights, but there are also very, very slow corners and chicanes. Oh.
Exactly.
Aditya says Fierce versus Zolo in the end. I just read the last part. It said Zolo in the end. I got confused. Maybe he saw something that we didn't. But Zolo is still in 3rd position. Fierce versus Zolo in the end looks like a probability for sure.
Yeah.
The Wildest Monk.
That'll be an interesting battle to look forward to, definitely.
Absolutely. All right. So Fierce B pulls the trigger, goes into the pits. So we'll see what Zolo does. Looks like he is rounding off Parabolica. He's definitely going to get ahead of Fierce B, but Fierce B has no reason to save fuel. He will have fresher tires, and he's just going to go for pure speed. Sushimaka is in 5th. He is getting a little bit of a tow from Crispy Bacon as well. Fierce B coming out in 3rd position. He's now almost 6-7 seconds behind Zolo, almost 7 seconds. So yeah, he will put that car into overboost. He will try to get as much speed as possible. He does not have to save fuel. He does not have to conserve tires at all. Elsewhere, Crispy Bacon still ahead of Sushi Maka. Sushi Maka is now down into 5th position. So there has been a position change here before, and Sushi Maka has to come back into the pit. So we'll see what happens when he does indeed pull the trigger. Other than that, Karan is in 6th position, Junior Kickass in 7th, Tyson, I think he just went into the pits, so he's into 8th, and Dinesh comes into the pits as well. So, looks like the Wildest Monk, I think his P1 for now is secure. The real fight is going to happen between Zolo and Fiersby. So Fiersby right now 6.2, 6.3 seconds behind Zolo. So he's taken off 7/10 in half a lap, almost half a lap. We'll see how that progresses as well. Shami, what are your thoughts on Fiersby's race? He's been doing really well in this race, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Fiersby right now, I'm thinking currently Zolo is going on a fuel save, and seems like Fiersby has speed and he might close during the end laps of the race. And Wildest Monk, he's actually pretty safe and he's been consistent throughout the race. And I can see his timeless, he's been like doing 149 throughout the lap. So if he keeps up this consistency, yeah, 5 more minutes, and then he has, I think, a decent amount of fuel to complete this race with the fuel that he have. So yeah, seems like Wildest Monk has this race in his hand until the
final. Yeah, the thing is, if the Wildest Monk is maintaining this pace, it's going to be a very thin gap between lap 16 and lap 17, and that is where it starts to get weird, because as soon as lap 17 starts, the Wildest Monk is going to be running on fumes practically. And if Zolo and Fiersby are able to cross the line while there's still time remaining, which is likely, I'm not going to discount that fact altogether, that we might see a very, very late shift in positions, as we've seen in all of the practice races as well. Crispy Bacon and Sushi, they're still in the same position, still very close to each other. I want to look at that telemetry information. So Crispy Bacon has some fuel and Sushi does not. So I think Crispy is... He's safe, at least for right now. Sushi Maka I think he has to pull the trigger and go into the pits as he gets very, very close to Crispy Bacon, but he has not made his move just yet. Sign for things to come? Do you think Sushi Maka is just going to stay behind Crispy Bacon? Do you think he has enough fuel to do that?
I don't think so, because if he stays behind Crispy Bacon, I'm guessing it'll come max for 2 more laps, which is 15 and 16. Yeah. So I think these guys will end the race in 16th lap. Wildest Monk, Zolo, and Fears will go for 17th lap. That'll get interesting. It seems like it, because I don't think Sushi Maka is pushing. So yeah.
Alright, so status update. The Wildest Monk is 10.5 seconds in front of Zolo. That time is actually falling and going up. But Zolo is now just 3.7 seconds in front of Fiersby. So I think that the 7-second advantage. Oh, we had somebody go off in the Porsche. But I think that was probably Dinesh as a back marker. I got scared for Fiersby for a second because I did not want to put a curse on him. What happened to Dinesh here? He comes out of Lesmo 2, just drops one tire on the AstroTurf, and the game just decides to take him out. So I think he was coming out of Lesmo 1, sorry, not Lesmo 2, but yeah, that's how it goes for Dinesh. No practice at all. He's on his controller. He just this is technically this is his first race in 3 weeks, so I do not really have much expectations from him. Coming back to Zolo and Fiersby, the gap is now down to 3.1 seconds with a minute and 47 seconds left before these guys cross the line. So it's going to be very, very interesting. I think the Wildest Monk will have to go for another lap unless he decides to wait right at the line. This is going to get very, very interesting, you guys. Zolo looks like he'll just be maybe a second short. So if he wants to go into the next lap, he has to pick up some pace. But Fiersby, he needs to pick up the pace big time right now. Otherwise, he is going to lose all of that advantage of the second pit stop. So we're going to stay on Fiersby. I'm going to go on board him as the game looks absolutely stunning during the morning hours with the sun almost there, the day breaking. Say what you will, Gran Turismo Sport, it was released back in 2017. It's still gorgeous, isn't it?
It's very much. I totally agree with you, because every time when I see the circuit, there is very thin line between this real and virtual currently now, and I absolutely love this graphics in GT Sport, because it's much better than any other racing game that I have raced in. So yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to go on board Zolo. People in the chat saying, Santosh says, we might see a P2 for Fiersby. We might, I'm not really sure we will. Vedant says, just cut some corners to make it to lap 17. That's a viable strategy. Santosh says, Zolo and Fiersby will end the race on lap 16. So 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2,
1.
And that's it. So Zolo is going to finish in P2. Fiersby comes home in P3, and the Wildest Monk gets oh so lucky. He will have to do the 17th lap. So we'll leave him to it. Sushi Maka finishes in 4th position. Crispy Bacon finishes in 5th. Bukaran finishing in 6th position. Junior Kickass still 15 seconds behind Bukaran, but he's going to be finishing on P7, which I think is a very, very good result for Junior Kickass. And Tyson in 8th position, Dinesh in 9th. I think Dinesh has already finished. So Tyson is rounding up Parabolica as we speak. Monk is such a lucky boy.
Home with a victory.
He's just cruising home. He has beaten everyone by a lap. So everybody else finishes a lap down to Wildest Monk. Akshat says,
letting the revs up.
Yeah, I don't think, looking at his fuel, look at that, it's red. He's running on vapors. Akshat Agarwal says Monk does it again. Yes, he does. Vedu in the chat says Monk wins by a lap. Yes, he does. Akshat says
Monk is already celebrating here.
He's already celebrating. Akshat wants him to do a burnout or a donut. He can. I think Monk, he has his indicators on. He is not he's not gathering too much speed. And look at that. Comes home in P1, a lap in front of everyone. That's something to behold. What are your thoughts, Shami?
It's a great race. When he got off the line, I knew absolutely the Wildest one gonna have his race in his hands, and he went for it. That's absolutely good. No, I absolutely enjoyed this race.
I did too. It's I mean, even towards the end, there was so much uncertainty in terms of what's gonna happen. We want to look at the race classification as well. So I'm going to talk about the Wildest Monk, a lap in front of everyone. He takes first position. He's already leading the championship. Shake in the chat says no fuel for a burnout. I think that's true. I think we all know that. Zolo comes home in second in the Master, which is a very, very good showing from him. And Fierceby in third. What a great race for Fierceby in the Supra. I think he just came into his element on this track. Shami, what are your thoughts on Sushi, Crispy, and Karan?
They had a very good race, but the start wasn't that great because Sushi, his car gave up in the off the line, and Crispy got off the line really good, but he had an incident in the first corner. But apart from that, they had a good race. They raced the race, so I don't think so. They really. I think they really enjoyed this race. But apart from Sushimaka, like he had his pole, but just that his car, I would say. But he could have gotten it if he had played his card right. But this is not a bad place to be in the race finish. He is in top 5, so that's good. Sushi and Crispy. So yeah.
Absolutely. Karan, who ran much of the race on his own, which he has been doing for the past 3 or 4 races. I think he's established himself as a solid midfield driver. I think he's going to come into his element, once the finals start, because I think he is going to qualify for the finals. Junior Kick-Ass, he was running in third and fourth at one point, and I think he's going to be happy with himself. I mean, he did make a couple of mistakes, but that is something that you learn as you progress. You know, that the consistency and the racecraft, and who better to learn it from than Mr. Consistent himself, Ankur Agarwal, the wildest monk. Tyson in 8th position, I think he had a good race as well. And Dinesh, a couple of laps down, but full props to him for showing up and just making sure that he finishes the race. All right. So Fierceby gets the fastest lap as well. Here's the laydown for what's going to happen next. We're going to have another race at the Nürburgring 24-hour circuit in the dark. That is going to be a Group 4 race, and it is going to be a double points joker race. So these guys have the option to choose whichever car they want, and they get double points of the points that they score in the next race. Tomorrow, we will have a race at Monza with the same settings and the same track, same settings, same car as we've been doing for the Group A guys, which Shami is going to be a part of. So all the best for that, Shami. And that is going to be an interesting thing to watch. We had 8 races today, separated by quite a lot in terms of time margins. But remember, all of the races that we've had for the Group A guys, I think the maximum gap between the first and second guy was somewhere close to 30 seconds at the end of the race. So remember, it is very, very close. These are some of the top guys, and we have the race tomorrow at the same time at 10 p.m. Shami, your final thoughts?
My final thoughts, though, I'm so much looking forward to tomorrow's race. I absolutely enjoyed today's race, and I always had this expectation for Wildest Monk that he will finish on the podium, and he didn't disappoint me at all. He never seems to disappoint us, right? Abby?
He never does. That's one thing about the Wildest Monk. He's just incredibly consistent. But thank you so much for your time today, Shami. I wish you all the best for your race tomorrow. Everybody else in the stream who is watching, thank you so much for your time this Saturday evening. Join us tomorrow, because that is going to be an insane race. And join us for the next race as well. This has been Abhishek. It has been a pleasure hosting this race for you. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.